biggest month's been 26, 25 or 26, did you say?
It was just 27, didn't I say?
Oh,
I think
sorry, 27.
Yeah.
Beautiful. In the house, we have Joe. Give her a hand. Welcome to the 10K Club. Congratulations. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you, because it doesn't work without amazing people like yourself that are committed and easy to coach. So what was like the biggest problem that you had before you joined us that drove the decision to join ZOA?
Consistency and automation, because I work very much about manifesting and doing the sort of vibrational part of it, and yet it was kind of sporadic, and although I could manifest large amounts, I'd also be able to go down to poverty, and it was kind of like I wanted a route, just a more consistent model, and I had come to an awareness that I needed something that I would define as more masculine in structure, like the riverbanks to the river. And I'd sort of done the inside work, but my business was missing a model that would allow me to kind of flow through.
How was that emotionally making you feel?
Which bit? What? How was it when I was like that?
The problem
that
you were having. So like, like that's,
infuriating. I could see it. I was able to help clients. Once I had the awareness, I felt okay, but it was just allowing. I just allowed you to come in, basically. So I just manifested you. Yeah.
Beautiful. Like, because look, we do live in a space, in a world today where people, they get very frustrated, they get overwhelmed, and it's natural because there's a lot out there. There's a lot of conflicting advice. There's a lot of confusion. Yeah. And what I found over the years is actually people think this is normal now, to sit in this space of like just being really overwhelmed. Yeah. And it's like it has now created this almost belief about, having an online business is really overwhelming. And they go, some have bought a range of different kind of services, not had the support, maybe, picked up a lot of disempowering beliefs through that process as well, because maybe they're trying to learn something that was outside of their skill set. And so it's a really interesting space, because I think more so than ever before, people don't actually get the right help to get themselves out of that. And it's actually not normal to sit there and go, I'm just going to figure it, I'm going to figure it out on my own. I never figured it out on my own. No. I've always went out and found what I believed at that stage of my life was the clearest and quickest way, because it was always natural for me to do that. So I just think it's interesting. And I have to say it was natural for me too, actually, because when I was riding professionally, I would never have considered not having someone on the ground telling me what I can't see. I can't see what I can't see. I couldn't, you can't get towards a gold medal by going, hey, I'll just try and figure this all out myself, and then wondering why I'm not succeeding. But it's very also easy to fall into the same pattern of like, I had invested in other people and I had tried to do the remote without support and actually with too big a groups. And I realized that wasn't something for me, that I didn't feel held, and I needed someone, actually, I needed to be part of. So even though I'm part of a group in COA, it feels very intimate and I feel heard and I feel seen. And so it's kind of different. You get this sort of one-to-one. Yeah. I think that, so out of all the things that we've supplied so far, so for example, the live support, the group forum, how it's built, access to team, one-to-one support, or funnels, ad scripts, frameworks. Yeah. What have you liked or used the most? What's the most value to you so far?
Kevin is awesome. He is awesome. I have to say, now that I'm putting into place my automated webinar, and the bliss that is being able to plug and put in all those emails and the sequences, and because that is something you have invested in. And for me, I could do it, but I don't want to do it, and I don't want to have to figure out all those tags. So there's a practical bit of that plug and play that is very useful. There is the shift for me, I think, has been a big thing of, so as a therapist for a long time, I knew, I was driven by hit the pain, hit the pain, hit the pain. You know, you want to make people cry, you want to take them there. That's you get the results. It's good. And people come out feeling better. And, you know, as we all do, we let the pressure off. But as a spiritual healer, I kind of had gone the other way, and I was falling into the let's all be positive. And because I'm all about the law of attraction, I had also fallen into a bit of that. Well, I've done my work and I don't really want to go to your pain. And yet my greatest skill is in the fact that I can sit with somebody else's pain and that be okay. So having you say, you need to go there, but you're not adding negativity to the world. And whereas in before, maybe I've come across male coaches, when I was writing full time and I was on a blogging course, you know, there was always these messages that say, you've got to put fear into the world. And I'm like, I will not add fear into the world. That's not going to happen. You know, I will help you transmute that to a higher frequency. But so, yeah, I think that's been really important on the coaching calls and in your videos of just like, you know, just don't be afraid there. And actually that has shifted everything in the sales process for me, because when I was selling for a while, I was selling end of life, you know, programs and wills and things like that. I would sit with a client in selling and take them to their pain, because you have to. You're talking about a very emotive subject, but somehow online going, oh, I don't want to upset people by taking them to their pain. But if you don't take them there, you're not going to take them to a solution. And I wouldn't do it in any other environment. So I think that has been quite a big shift, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's, super powerful. I'm not sure a lot of people really get that. But what that is, again, just to clarify it, is you don't need to push people. If you truly go through the process, like the closer process, understand reverse selling, which is understanding their problem. And for many years, you know, people would come to the end of that and go, I really don't feel like I'm being, you know, sold. It is a natural next step, if it is a natural step, because there's not always a natural step and doesn't have to be. And I think in today's market, if you don't have something like that, it's really difficult, because you end up doing, you know, old pushy sales, which just doesn't work.
Horrible stuff.
So yeah, horrible stuff. And so as a byproduct, what your biggest month's been 25 or 26, did you say?
It was just 27, didn't I say?
Oh, sorry, 27. Yeah. Beautiful. Out of the things that, as you said, like the support, all those other things, before you joined, was there anything that like was holding you back on making that investment into joining us? Were you nervous about anything, or?
I would, hands up, I was totally nervous about trusting a man. Yeah. and that was the process. I knew I wanted to go and work with men. I needed to have men in my life and have that masculine.
I don't think anyone's ever said that. Yeah. That's great. I love that. But
it's a big part of, I think,
just because it's a man.
Well, not because of just you, but I think I wanted masculine perspective, but that was also the block, because it was like, oh, can I trust you? You know, you're going to be a guy, you could be like, and actually I knew I had to step forward into that. So that was kind of my resistance. But the moment I stepped forward, I manifested the money, it was fine. It was done.
Cool. I'm not sure if I'm like massively masculine, but I'll take that. You know,
you hold enough of it, otherwise it wouldn't be right.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good to hear. Sometimes I'm told otherwise online, you know, people, but they are, you know, coming from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, that being said, what would you say to someone that was on the edge of joining and jumping in, that was possibly nervous about having a man with masculine energy? No, what would you say to someone that was nervous about joining?
I think I would like to say that if you've had a fear of bro selling, I keep hearing this comment recently in the world that I kind of mix in, and sort
bro
of
selling.
Yeah,
you are ripping them out today.
Oh no, but this is like a term I hear a lot in manifesting spiritual communities, those sort of things.
Okay.
And it is really negative, this idea that it's kind of manipulative, masculine ways of being. And I would say to anybody who's maybe coming from a space where they maybe, you know, I'm not for a long time that, you know, I don't fit in the box. I'm not just in a business field. I'm somebody who does a kind of combination way of working.
Mhm.
And if you're maybe somebody who thinks, yeah, but I may be a bit more alternative and maybe it doesn't fit for that and they won't get me, and I would say none of that matters, because actually it isn't about pushy selling. It isn't about trying to figure it out on your own. I mean, I think you listening to you in my head very fast on the recordings is quite entertaining and quite high vibe, so it's quite good. The recordings, but I would say trust actually I felt very safe, and I've also connected with some other absolutely gorgeous women and men in the group, but other women who are on my wavelength. Has been really beautiful as well. And Ed, you're great.
But it is hard to find, like it is hard to find, we hear that a lot. It's hard to find people that are really connected on the same wavelength. So why do you think, like you said, this bro selling, why do you think that is a thing today? Like, where's that coming from?
I think it's a bunch of, I'm going to say it, but a bunch of spiritual women who are disconnected from their own internal masculine. I was there, I've been there. I don't think I'm there anymore, but who actually have quite a lot of resistance to that masculine presence. There's a lot out there. And of course, that affects your manifesting, it affects your business, because you've got to have both energies. You've got to have both. You can't manifest what you want into the world without having a masculine presence. You've got to have that feminine coming into the masculine is how you manifest. So when you get this sort of belief pattern of, oh, you're going to be pushed and shoved, and that's not the masculine, that's just unhealthy selling and people who are not connected to themselves. So I just think there's, like all labels, I think people latch on to something. I don't know if I answered the question.
No, that's good. It's an interesting perspective. So look, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate you. Congrats to joining the 10K club. Super pumped for your next step. But it doesn't happen without being someone that is coachable. We do get a lot of people in the spiritual space, and I do think there's levels of spirituality where you actually move through and start to become really coachable. And in those earlier stages, there is a lot of conflict. There's a lot of conflict going on internally with different beliefs, etc., which is all cool. It's all part of that process. But what we found over the years is actually, there's nothing wrong with being in those earlier stages, but they're actually the hardest people to get to a coaching business, because there's so much resistance. And so look, I'm super pumped for you because you've been easy, and it's going to be such an easy journey for you. So look, that being said, let's get down to your next steps.